Everyone, my name is Cindy Rosas. Global warming has always been a topic of discussion, whether it is happening or not, and whether has dramatic consequences. Here's a little video that shows you how the greenhouse effects works, which I'm going to tell you about a little bit later. There are some gases in the atmosphere that block heat from escaping. These gases include water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and chlorofluorocarbons. Human activities has increased some of these gases into the atmosphere. For example, the process of burning fossil fuels like coal and oil combines carbon and oxygen, making carbon dioxide and increasing its concentration into the atmosphere. In the Intergovernmental Panel of Climate Change on the Fifth Assessment Report, 1,300 independent scientific experts concluded that human industrial activities raised atmospheric carbon dioxide levels from 280 parts per million to 412 parts per million in the last 150 years. There are more than 95% probability that the human activity has raised the Earth's warmth in the last 50 years. There are many types of research and evidence that global warming is occurring, and we as Earth's inhabitants should be informed and aware of what the causes are and what we could do to prevent an increase. There are changes that can be seen that global warming has caused, like effects like glaciers have shrunken, rivers, lakes, ice breaks early, animal and plant ranges have shifted. Some effects that are occurring now that have been predicted are loss of sea level has increased, and heat waves are longer and more intense. I will share with you a video that I found helpful in understanding global warming and the glasshouse effect.
Scientists believe it's human activity that's driving the temperatures up, a process known as global warming. Ever since the Industrial Revolution began, factories, power plants, and eventually cars have burned fossil fuels such as oil and coal, releasing huge amounts of carbon dioxide and other gases into the atmosphere. These greenhouse gases trap heat near the Earth through a naturally occurring process called the greenhouse effect. The greenhouse effect begins with the sun and the energy it radiates to the Earth. The Earth and the atmosphere absorb some of this energy, while the rest is radiated back into space. Naturally occurring gases in the atmosphere trap some of this energy and reflect it back, warming the Earth. Scientists now believe that the greenhouse effect is being intensified by the extra greenhouse gases that humans have released. Evidence for global warming includes a recent string of very warm years. Scientists report that 1998 was the warmest year in measured history, with 2005 coming in second. Meanwhile, readings taken from ice cores show that the greenhouse gases carbon dioxide and methane have hit their highest levels in the past 420,000 years. Arctic sea ice is also shrinking. According to NASA studies, the extent of Arctic sea ice has declined about 10% in the last 30 years. As long as industrialized nations consume energy and developing countries increase their fossil fuel consumption, the concentration of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere
One of many future effects that global warming has on Earth is that it will cause more droughts and heat waves. In the Southwest regions, droughts and heat waves are projected to be more intense, and the cold waves less intense. According to Ben Cook, a climate scientist at NASA's Goddard Institute for Space Studies, and Lamont Doherty Earth Observatory at Columbia University in the New York City, 1930s Dust Bowl is current Southwest natural drought have lasted a decade or less. What the results of this study show is that there is 12% chance of drought lasting for 30 to 35 years if the greenhouse gas emissions stop increasing as of now. If it keeps increasing, then the probability increases to more than 60%. Sea levels will also rise. This is due because of the melting ice sheets and glaciers and the expansion of seawater as it warms. the low-lying islands in the Pacific Ocean will become uninhabitable. Many coastal areas could also face severe flooding because of the rise of sea level. The first graph right here shows the sea level change from 1870 to 2013 from coastal tide gauge data. As you can see, it has increased tremendously. Another problem that global warming will cause is that stronger and more intense hurricanes will occur. As the climate continues to warm, hurricanes' intensity and rainfall rates are predicted to increase as well. There are two solutions that are offered by NASA. The first one being mitigation, which is the decreasing of heat trapping greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, and the other solution is adaptation. It is important to adjust to prevent climate changes and future climate changes. The goal of mitigation is to stabilize greenhouse gas levels sufficient enough to allow ecosystems to adapt to change and to climate change naturally. This would also ensure that food production is not harmed and to enable economic development. Adapting would reduce the threat that climate change has on living organisms, as well as plants. Around the world, communities have been working on adapting for climate change, like building flood defenses, planning for heat waves, amongst other plans actions. Some people may argue that climate change might be a good thing, or that we can all adapt easily, or that it may not be occurring at all. This is our future. Whatever happens into our ecosystem, whatever happens to our atmosphere, whatever. Are you fucking serious? Some people may argue that climate change might be a good thing, that we can all adapt easily, or that it may even be not occurring at all. But this is our future. This is our Earth. Whatever happens in our ecosystem affects us all. Adaptation takes time. We need to be involved and aware. Now that I have told you about global warming and how it affects us and our world, I hope you can look into yourself. I hope you can look into it yourself and be aware of problems we are facing in the future and how to be prepared. If you are interested in learning more, please visit the NASA website on global warming. It informs you of causes, effects, solutions, and additional resources. It's a really good website, and it tells you all you need to know about global warming, as well as other causes or effects that might be going on in our Earth. Thank you.